Do you ever feel overwhelmed thinking that there's so much to do, or perhaps you're putting in the hours with nothing to show for it? Well, if that's you, then you are going to love this video, because this isn't about squeezing even more into your day. This is about reaching your goals more quickly, more efficiently, and with less resistance. So basically, we're talking about working smarter and not harder. And before we jump into all of that, my mission here is to help sleep consultants and parent educators build businesses online that truly make the impact that they set out to make in the world, as well as build freedom, money, and ease into their lives. And so one small thing that you can do to help us reach more people is hit that like button and make sure to subscribe so you're going to be notified when we release our weekly video. Okay, so I'm going to be sharing 10 key productivity hacks that have given us more time back in our business and made everything, well, a lot easier to run. Okay, so firstly, get clear on the outcome and prioritize what's important. So it's easy to go off on a tangent when working on projects, but it's important to kind of orientate back to the outcome. So always be thinking, what is it that I'm trying to achieve? And I definitely think with projects that involve, the tech, people and systems, it's easy to get sidetracked. Things crop up, there are different competing priorities. And in my experience, you can find yourself going down a whole different rabbit hole, focusing on things that aren't really that important in the moment. And by constantly coming back to the question, what is the outcome I'm trying to achieve and what needs to be done first, really helps you to focus and keep on track. So it's about having the discipline to say, these are the list of things that I need to get done, but they can't all be done at once. So what is the most important thing right now to do to reach my goal? What can wait and what is just a nice to have? So one key thing with productivity is prioritization and just focusing on the metrics and tasks that really matter. So the second productivity hack is avoiding mistakes. Now, we all make mistakes, of course, but really looking at what causes mistakes is really, really important, because mistakes cost you, well, a beep load of time. And the biggest cause of mistakes is actually just going too fast. For example, if you post the wrong link in your email, then you need to resend the email and you have people emailing you saying the link is wrong. Or let's say that link gets posted on your social media, then you get a bunch of DMs and it goes on and on and on. And when you scale your service online, those mistakes get amplified massively. So working too fast or working on too many things where you're not really present in what you're doing can really lead to mistakes. And those mistakes lead to loads more work and just really slows you down, and you end up feeling really frustrated. So how do you slow down the process and try and capture the mistakes? Well, it's building in a checking process. And this is really useful for everything from posting content where there may be just a few steps to perhaps more involved work like launching, where you might have hundreds of people taking part, which means that you could get very busy very fast, and that can lead to things getting missed and mistakes happening. So for us, when releasing a video like this, someone would check the video, they would create the email, would test the email, would check the links, and then all of that work would get checked by someone else before being posted anywhere. And that whole process would be logged in our productivity tool, Asana, which I'm going to talk about in just a minute, meaning that everyone in the team knows the process. And the benefit of this whole system is that you're less likely to miss things and make mistakes. Okay, so productivity hack number 3, keep things simple. And often in business, we like to overcomplicate things, and that can end up creating more friction in your business. And I've really learned this the hard way, because we definitely used to overcomplicate everything on the tech front for a very long time. And I would listen to someone, telling me that, I needed this product and this product was going to make a difference, or, I would end up with certain software that wasn't really compatible with something else, and we would end up paying people to try and sort things out just because everything was kind of pieced together. And I now have the mantra that simple is good. If you're running a course and people just want to book the course, receive an email, log in, and that's it. You don't want 10 different tools doing 10 different things or try and be really fancy, because ultimately that just causes friction in your business. Okay, productivity hack number 4, use a productivity tool. So we use Asana as our main tool, and it's amazing. It links to so many of our systems, and it just takes everything out of your head and it forces you to systemize your tasks. So we use this for planning and managing every project that we have in the business. For example, promotional events. So I'll build out the whole launch process on an Asana board so we know what needs to be done and who needs to be involved. So programs, so all our key projects have a board. Content creation, we have a board for that. Our annual goals and priorities, there's a board for that. Our team sprints, so what are we all focusing on over a 2-week period. And productivity systems like this just really help you to think through tasks. And if you're working with other freelancers, well, it just helps everyone to keep on track without you having to kind of run around speaking to different people at different times. So breaking this down a bit more, if there is a due date on a task, you can set that up so all the due dates are added, but you can also set up reminders a few days before so you or someone else is reminded in advance that there is a deadline coming up soon. And it may seem like a simple thing, but all those little things really help to take the load of you know, of the person running the company. You're not having to continuously go back to people. But here's the thing, when it was just me, myself and I juggling all the things, I actually used to use Trello, and I found that to be a really simple productivity tool, and it was just really effective in mapping out projects and keeping track of what was happening. So it wasn't quite as fancy as Asana. So regardless of if you're using Asana and you have a team, or you're using something like Trello if you're operating your business mainly on your own, you know, these tools allow you to keep focused and have a clear plan of action. And it's easy to think that setting up projects and reminders sounds like a whole lot of work that you probably don't need. But the reality is you just need to think about the workflow. And when you've created one workflow, it's easy to replicate that process if you have another project that follows the same process. For example, if you're creating a webinar, that process could easily be duplicated when you're creating another webinar, which again makes you more efficient in your business because you aren't starting projects from scratch. You know the flow, you're just kind of plugging in the information that's needed and who needs to get involved. What if I told you that you could automate a lot of your $10, you know, marketing, admin or sales tasks? You know, the things that you do every day that just take so much time. How much time would you save? And what about money? How much money would you save? Well, Zapier is a tool that makes it really easy to automate tasks between different apps. I mean, it's amazing. For example, you could have Zapier link your Facebook Messenger or your Instagram account to your project management tool, so you can see all your messages in your, let's say, your Asana board, so you're not having to move from one system to the other. Like, everything is being pushed into your Asana board and you're able to take action from there. That is going to save you so much time and energy. And you can use it to automatically move files back and forth. For example, you can connect your email to Google Drive, and in our case what we'll do, you know, someone will send us a document and there'll be an action which is called a zap to take that file from that email and then file it in the Google Drive and then let you know when that's been done. And so when thinking about what tasks can be automatically actioned using Zapier, I like to write down a list of all the things that need to be done to get a job done. And if it involves moving from one system to another, you can pretty much use Zapier to do it. And how cool is that? I mean, it just saves you so much time. Okay, productivity hack number 5, communicating with each other. So we do pretty much all of our internal communication and communication with partners using Slack. So I'm going to admit this, but I hate email as a way to communicate with a team. I find it can be a real time suck and I think it really slows you down. But Slack, it's a little bit like WhatsApp and it links to all of your core business systems like Asana. So what we do is we set tasks in Asana and then we have different categories in Slack. And if a task comes out of a discussion, that's then made into a task in Asana in a few clicks. So you're basically chatting with your team and then you're like, boom, this is what we need to do. And then it pops up in Asana as a task and then it has a date when it needs to be actioned and all that information is there and it's so easy to track. But of course, there is a place for emails, and when we're sending emails externally, so let's say we're responding to inquiries, we create template responses for questions that come up, and this saves a ton of time. And of course, you probably need to tweak those emails so that has a personal touch. But if you have 10, 20, 30 emails coming in a day, imagine how much time you can save by just bringing up a template that's perfectly formatted and then adapting it. You're going to save hours and hours a week, and therefore when you look at your whole year, you're saving hundreds of hours. Okay, so productivity hack number 6, working in bursts. So taking regular breaks is key, and some people in our team, they set times to create tasks. So they may work for 30 minutes on a task and then break. So you go all in and you focus, and then you just take a short break. And this is known as the Pomodoro technique. So you break your workday into 25-minute or 30-minute chunks separated by 5-minute breaks. Personally, I find it takes me a bit of time to get into certain tasks, especially if it's something like, I don't know, writing a presentation or something like that. So I think the secret really here is just finding something that works for you, but importantly, creating space in between tasks so you can actually move about and just refocus your brain. Okay, so productivity hack number 7, batch creating tasks. Now, batch creating tasks is absolutely key to productivity. Basically, what you're doing here is just doing certain tasks on certain days rather than doing a little bit of this and a little bit of that. And honestly, I find this one thing alone is an absolute game changer. For example, I do all of my meetings on Mondays as I feel pretty much ready to go after the weekend, and anything that needs to be done can be done by the end of the week. Or I'll plan coaching calls on set days as that requires me to be in a certain headspace. And that also means that I'm only getting dressed up once or twice a week max, which, well, that feels like a bonus, to be honest. And then I'll do finances on a certain day, and I'll have set days to think about content and another day to write content. And I'll also set times for what I call CEO tasks. So on Fridays, that will be when I review our stats. I'll work on projects that I really know push the needle in our business. So that may be focusing on building partnerships or reviewing key processes. So if you're not doing this already, I highly recommend it. And for me, what I do is I schedule time to just think. And creating space is really important, especially if you feel frustrated or something just feels off in your business. And having been guilty of cramming in as much as possible and learning the hard way that you don't achieve more by doing that, I highly recommend building in space to just think about what is going on in your business. And when you think about it, we create a business because we want to create our own path and create freedom. And it's easy to get trapped in the cycle of working longer and harder than you would in a normal 9-to-5 job. And of course, there are times where things are crazy busy, but it's being strategic and not trying to do too much so your time is diluted and you can't focus on anything. And I talk about that a lot in this video here. Okay, so productivity hack number 9. Outsourcing the $10 tasks. So often we forget the value of our worth. And the problem with that is that you stay in the weeds in your business, like doing all the $10 tasks and not focusing on the tasks that will really push you forward in your business and help you grow. For example, fiddling around creating a freebie on Canva might take 2 to 3 hours, and that could be outsourced on a freelancer site for something like $10 or $15, and you could use that time instead to build partnerships or, get more clients. I really do think that we know when we aren't doing the right things in our business. It's usually the time when we feel down in our business or we feel stuck. And often it's because everything feels heavy. So if that is how you feel, take a look at the tasks that you're doing, write them all down and ask yourself the question, is this a $10 task? Or is this a big rock task? Is this a thing that is going to move me forward in my business? So outsourcing tasks that you shouldn't be doing is key. Now, people often say, well, I'm going to get a virtual assistant, or I'm going to outsource when I earn X amount of money, or I get to this point or that point. But the thing is, you're going to get to where you want to get to much quicker if you get things off your plate that allow you to really build momentum in your business. Okay, so productivity hack number 10. So my final productivity hack is to slow down and enjoy the process. Like, we live in a society where we want everything right now, and where we see people's success online and we think, you know, we want that, that should be us, and everything looks quick and easy. And certainly I've come to the conclusion that it's important to enjoy the process, like the ups and the downs, the challenges, all of that, and recognize that everything is constantly evolving. And by taking that in and having that beginner mindset, like always wanting to learn and evolve, and knowing big things come from just taking daily action, that's when you not only see the leaps in your business, but you start to enjoy it. Okay, so I hope you've enjoyed this video sharing my key productivity hacks that I hope will help you to accomplish more in your business and help you work less. So these are certainly the things that have made a big difference in my business, and I'd love to know if you have found them useful. Let me know in the comments below, and also let me know, what things have been really helpful for you in your business. Okay, so as I mentioned in the beginning, our mission here is to help parenting specialists and sleep consultants build businesses online that truly make the impact that they set out to make in the world, as well as build freedom, money and ease into their lives. And so one small thing that you can do to help us reach more people is hit that like button and make sure to subscribe, so you're going to be notified when we release our weekly videos. Okay, so thanks for being here, and I'm going to see you in the next video.